She gave her last $20 to a stranger. "Thank you, child. This means everything." 3 days later, that stranger's grandson proposed. "Will you marry me?" But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Maya had been invisible for 8 months. Not literally. She showed up every morning at Crown and Stone, the most exclusive jewelry boutique in downtown Chicago. She polished the cases, arranged the diamond displays, smiled at customers who looked right through her. But her manager, Sandra, had made one thing clear from week 1. Maya was not there to sell. She was there to run errands, dry cleaning, coffee, vault cleaning, whatever Sandra didn't want to do herself. And every time Maya managed to land a sale anyway, Sandra found a reason to flip the commission to one of the senior girls. Paperwork error, client reassignment, whatever excuse fit the day. The senior staff had a name for Maya behind her back, the placeholder. She knew. She didn't quit. She needed rent. That Tuesday started like every other one. Slow, cold, and slightly humiliating. Maya was rearranging a tray of diamond chokers when the front door opened. An old woman walked in. She moved carefully the way people move when their joints hurt. Her coat was thin. Her sneakers were cracked at the toe. Her hair was tucked under a faded headscarf. She looked like she had taken 3 buses to get here and wasn't sure she had the right address. The senior girls exchanged glances. One of them, Brittany, stepped forward before the woman even reached the display cases. "Can I help you?" The words were polite. The tone was not. "I just want to look around," the old woman said softly. Sandra appeared from the back like she had been summoned. Heels clicking, perfume arriving before she did. She looked the woman up and down the way you look at a bug you're deciding whether to step on. "This isn't that kind of store," Sandra said. "Excuse me, we serve high-end clients." Sandra's smile was the cruelest kind, perfectly shaped. "You'd be more comfortable somewhere else." The room laughed. Not loudly. Just enough. Maya felt something tighten in her chest. She set down the choker tray, walked across the floor, and touched the old woman's arm gently. "Can I get you some water?" The room went quiet in a different way now. The old woman looked at Maya like she hadn't expected that, like kindness was something she'd stopped anticipating. "That would be nice," she said. Maya brought her water and found her a chair near the sidewall. She sat with her, ignored the whispers, and smiled. "Take your time. There's no rush." The old woman's hand rested on top of Maya's. Her skin was soft and dry and full of years. "Good things find good people," she said quietly. "Remember that." Maya didn't know why those words hit her so hard. She just nodded. Then the old woman straightened in her chair and said something that changed everything. "I'd like to see 10 luxury sets. Your finest ones. Full sets, necklace, earrings, bracelet, ring." Maya blinked. 10. "The best you have." She worked for 55 minutes, matching stones, checking settings, pulling the velvet trays from the highest shelves. She moved carefully, intentionally, the way she always did when something mattered. The senior girls watched from a distance like spectators at a bad circus. "She's actually doing it," Brittany whispered. "Let her," someone else said. "It'll be funnier when it falls apart." Sandra stood with her arms crossed, wearing a small smile Maya had learned to hate. When Maya laid out the final selection, 10 complete sets, each one more stunning than the last, the old woman clasped her hands together. "I'll take all of them." The room tilted. Maya exhaled. She could barely keep the smile off her face. "That comes to $240,000. Dead silence, then laughter. "Oh my God," Brittany said, covering her mouth. The old woman patted her pockets, checked her coat, looked up with a gentle sigh. I don't have my card on me, dear. My grandson has it. I'll need to reach him. The laughter came harder this time. Not behind hands. Out loud. Sandra walked forward slowly, like she was savoring every step. She stopped in front of Maya, close enough that Maya could smell her perfume. You really thought she could afford this? It wasn't a question. Maya turned to the old woman. It's okay. Don't be embarrassed. The old woman looked at her with calm, clear eyes. I'm not embarrassed, dear. My grandson will come. I just need a moment. Sandra laughed. Honey, you don't have a grandson with $200,000. And even if you did, he wouldn't be picking you up from a jewelry store in those shoes. She waved at the door. Security can walk you out. The old woman stood slowly. No rush, no tears. She simply looked at Sandra for a long moment, and then looked at Maya. Maya reached into her bag. Her last $20. The one she'd been carrying for emergencies. She pressed it into the old woman's hand. For a cab, please. The old woman stared at the bill. Her fingers closed around it. When she looked up, her eyes were bright. You are a rare kind of person, Maya. Sandra's voice cut through the moment like a blade. That's it. You brought a beggar into my store, wasted an hour of company time, and now you're giving away money like this as a charity. Get your things. You're fired. Maya picked up her bag. She didn't cry. She didn't argue. She walked out into the Chicago afternoon and stood on the sidewalk, blinking in the sunlight with no job, no plan, and an empty wallet. She didn't know what the old woman was doing behind her. But the old woman was smiling. The estate was 40 minutes outside the city. The cab driver had gone quiet when they pulled up to the gates. He kept glancing in the rearview mirror. Inside, everything was marble and light. Paintings that belonged in museums. A silence that money had bought and kept. Ethan stood in the center of the living room when she walked in. 29 years old, CEO of Sterling Holdings, one of the largest private equity groups in the Midwest. He'd been on 3 magazine covers in the past year. He was tall, focused, the kind of quiet that meant he was always thinking. Grandma. His voice shifted when he saw her face. Something careful left it. Where have you been? She told him all of it. The store, the girls, Sandra, and Maya, the one who brought her water, who sat with her, who gave away her last $20 without knowing who she was giving it to. By the time she finished, Ethan's jaw was tight. Which store? Crown and Stone. He was already reaching for his phone. That's one of ours. His grandmother raised one finger. The girl first. The security footage ran for 6 minutes. Ethan watched it twice without saying a word. Then he leaned back in his chair, eyes on the screen, and stayed still for a long moment. He had reviewed thousands of hours of business footage, analytics, performance reviews, boardroom recordings. He had never watched someone give away their last $20. Find her, he said. Maya was sitting on a bus bench, scrolling through job listings she couldn't afford to be picky about, when the black SUV pulled up. The window came down. A man in a fitted suit looked at her. Miss Maya? She stood up slowly. Who's asking? My name is Marcus. I'm the personal assistant to Ethan Sterling, CEO of Sterling Holdings. Pause. The woman you helped this afternoon is his grandmother. He'd like to meet you. Maya stared at him. The name. She knew it. Everyone in Chicago knew it. Sterling Holdings owned half the commercial real estate downtown, 3 hotel chains, and her stomach dropped. Crown and Stone. She had just been fired from a store owned by the grandmother's grandson. This had to be a trap. She got in anyway. The house did something to her. Not the size, not the art. It was the stillness of it. The way the air inside felt different, like nothing urgent had ever happened here. And then she saw him at the top of the stairs. She recognized him from the magazines, but photographs hadn't gotten it right. In person, he had a weight to him, a gravitational thing, like every room he stood in had been waiting for him to arrive. Maya. His voice was even. I'm Ethan. I know who you are, she said, and then felt embarrassed for saying it. His grandmother appeared from a side hallway, arms open. You came. Something in Maya loosened. You live here, Maya said. I do. The old woman laughed, squeezing her hands. Not as poor as I looked, am I? Ethan watched the two of them. He had a still face, hard to read, but something moved in it just for a second. His grandmother turned to him and said simply, she's the one. Maya laughed nervously. That's not, I don't, we just met. She looked at Ethan to laugh with her. He wasn't laughing. He was just looking at her, calm, steady, serious. Her heart did something she hadn't given it permission to do. She stayed 3 days, then a week. She meant to leave, but his grandmother kept finding reasons to need her around. Then Ethan offered her a job, personal assistant, Sterling Holdings headquarters. Competitive salary, full benefits, direct report to him. She said no. He asked why. Because I don't want to owe you anything, she said. And I don't want people thinking I got here because of who you are. He looked at her for a long moment. You'd be turning down the highest paying PA role in the company. I know. Another long pause. Okay, he said. Then earn it. Interview tomorrow. My HR team, no favors. She showed up at 8 o'clock. She left at 11 o'clock. She got the job. She didn't see Victoria until her 3rd day at Sterling. Victoria arrived the way beautiful, dangerous women always arrive in stories like this, perfectly dressed, loud heels, and radiating the specific energy of someone who has already decided to hate you. She was a senior director at the company. She had been attached to Ethan's name in gossip columns for 2 years. She looked at Maya the way Sandra had looked at the old woman in the store, and Maya felt the recognition of it like a cold hand on her neck. And you are? Victoria asked. Ethan's new PA, Maya said. Victoria smiled. It didn't reach anything. How convenient. It started small. A whisper here, a rumor there. By the end of week 2, half the company had heard that Maya had slept her way into the position, that she was a con artist, that she had targeted Ethan's grandmother deliberately. Maya kept her head down. She worked. She showed up early and left late. Ethan heard the rumors by day 10. He called a company-wide meeting. He stood at the head of the conference table and let the room settle. Then he said quietly and clearly, Maya has her position because she earned it in a process every one of you can verify with HR. She also happens to be the person who gave her last $20 to my grandmother when everyone else laughed at her. He paused. Anyone who has a problem with that should bring it to me directly. Otherwise, we're done with this conversation. Nobody spoke. Victoria's face was stone. Maya sat very still and felt, for the first time in years, like someone had put a wall between her and the world. This is where the story should have gotten easier. It didn't. Victoria had one card left. She used it. She went to Ethan's mother. Catherine Sterling flew in from Boston 2 days later. She was everything you'd expect, composed, aristocratic, and absolutely convinced that she could see through people in 30 seconds. She looked at Maya and saw a threat. That evening, she appeared at Maya's apartment door. She sat down across from her. She placed a check on the table. $500,000. Leave, Catherine said. Not the job. Leave my son's life. Take this. Start over somewhere else. I'll make sure no one interferes. Maya looked at the check for a long time. Then she picked it up and tore it in two. I love your son, she said quietly. I didn't plan to, but I do. And I'm not going to take money to walk away from something real. Catherine stared at her in a long, measuring silence. Then she stood, smoothed her jacket, and left without another word. The frame-up came from Victoria. A missing watch, $40,000, found in Maya's desk drawer by a cleaning crew, conveniently, on a day when Victoria was the last senior person in the building. The call came on a Friday afternoon. Security at her apartment door. Ethan's assistant on the phone. Come in immediately. She walked into Sterling Holdings' lobby and felt every eye. Catherine was there. Victoria, arms crossed, expression arranged into careful concern. A representative from legal. We found the watch, Maya, Victoria said softly. I'm so sorry. Maya felt the room tilt. She thought about every version of this moment she had already lived. The jewelry store, the campus jobs she'd worked to pay for school. Every place where someone had decided she was less than before she opened her mouth. She thought about walking out. Then Ethan walked in. He didn't look at Victoria. He didn't look at his mother. He looked at Maya. I need everyone to give us the room. He had the footage. He'd pulled it himself the night before when something hadn't felt right. Victoria, 11:43 p.m., entering Maya's office. Victoria, 11:47 p.m., leaving, the watch having entered a desk drawer in between. He showed it to the room 20 minutes later. All of them. His mother, legal, the senior staff. Victoria's face went the color of paper. That's not. The angle doesn't show, Victoria. Ethan's voice was flat. Don't. Security walked her out. Catherine found Maya sitting alone in the small garden behind the estate that evening. She sat down beside her without being invited. They were quiet for a while. I was wrong about you, Catherine said finally. I've been wrong before. It doesn't happen often, so I'm not good at it. Pause. I tore a woman down because I was scared of what she represented. I know what that looks like now. Maya looked at her. My son loves you, Catherine said. That should have been enough for me from the start. He proposed on a Wednesday. No production, no crowd, just the two of them on the rooftop of Sterling headquarters at dusk, the city going gold below them, a small velvet box in his hand. You gave a stranger your last $20, he said. And then you turned down $500,000 to stay. I've never met anyone like you, Maya. He opened the box. I don't want to spend the rest of my life without you in it. She said yes before he finished the sentence. 6 months later, Sandra found out the way everyone in Chicago found out. The engagement announcement ran in 3 papers. Ethan Sterling, CEO of Sterling Holdings, engaged to Maya. The same Maya. Sandra was at Crown and Stone when her phone lit up. She read the headline, read it again, set her phone face down on the counter, picked it up, read it again. Then she got a second notification. Sterling Holdings had conducted an internal review of Crown and Stone management practices. Effective immediately, the store manager position was vacant. She had been fired by the man whose grandmother she'd thrown out. The store fell quiet. Everyone remembered what the old woman had said on her way out the door. Kindness is more valuable than expensive diamonds. They hadn't believed her. A year after the wedding, Maya opened the Groundwork Center. A non-profit that connected people in career transition with paid apprenticeships in skilled trades and business. On opening day, she stood at a podium in front of 300 people and said, I know what it feels like when a room decides you're nothing before you speak. I want this to be the place where that stops. In the front row sat Ethan's grandmother, still in her worn headscarf, clapping harder than anyone. Beside her sat Catherine, who had become quietly and genuinely someone Maya trusted. And beside Catherine sat Ethan, watching his wife like she was the most important thing in any room she walked into. Because she was. The old woman had known it the moment Maya pressed $20 into her hand. Some people show you who they are when they think nothing is watching. That's the only moment that counts.